That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
I watched Vikings on Amazon, and then I rewatched Disenchanted, which released a new episode on Netflix.
Oh, you're living the dream.
And that's been like, and I'm like, I have to get out of the house. I left the house in like 3 days to be with my cat.
Okay, so
All right. Welcome to Witchcast.
welcome to Witchcast.
'Cause it's Witchcast.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Kate.
We're your hosts.
Yes, we're funny, casual, I don't know, funky, casual witches.
We are casual witches.
And we're learning.
We're exploring the witchcraft world by
Right.
talking to people that are experts in
Who
different
know more.
topics about
Yes.
witchcraft.
About the
And
wide world of
the wide
anything.
world of not just witchcraft, but like
mysticism,
occult,
yes, paganism,
spiritual,
all
whatever
that
you got. We'll
really
take it.
fun stuff.
Yeah, maybe we'll interview a priest at some point, just like a regular Catholic priest. That
No,
would be
please don't.
fascinating.
Please, okay.
Uh,
We'll talk about it.
I'll cut that out.
No, leave it in.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe for Christmas.
Can it be like a cool priest though?
Like
Like a priest that you
Like
a
yeah,
Jesuit or
like
something?
a Father Dan. Yeah, you know what I mean? He like comes back.
Like a
No, okay.
Father Dan.
I don't know. Anyway, we have a very special guest today. We are not talking about Catholic priests today.
No, we are not at all. Well, we might talk about them, but that's not what we're here
they
for.
might, yeah, they might come up, but our focus today.
We're talking Hermetic Qabalah,
Yes.
and we have a guest in the studio.
Yeah,
and we're
very
in a real studio.
We're in a real studio. We're actually at QED in Astoria, place to show and tell.
Yeah, we're trying out a new thing.
Yeah, we actually do our Revolution monthly stand-up show there, and they also have a podcast studio that you can rent. We love QED, and we love the owner,
love
Cambry.
QED.
Please check them out
Yeah.
if you're in the city. Yeah.
Yeah, go see a comedy show or
Come
something.
see our
Do a
comedy show.
craft. Come see our
Come
comedy
see
show.
our comedy show.
And please welcome to our studio.
Welcome to the studio.
I don't know why I said it like that. Like there's an audience that's gonna
Yes,
start
welcome
going crazy.
to our applause. Welcome to our studio, Lumo Arcanorum.
Arcanorum.
Yes.
Yay.
Did we get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's right on your zine right there.
Yeah.
We got this. Luma, thank you so much for coming. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So excited to have you here. So you are someone who is knowledgeable about Hermetic Qabalah, but you also, well, first of all, let me ask you this: do you say Qabalah or Qabalah?
I say Qabalah.
Oh, okay.
Qabalah
Yeah.
without the qua.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I was saying Qabalah in my head while researching. So.
Ooh. got-
Yes. So you'll hear some
Giants playing
maybe
squash.
noises from the show upstairs, which, by the way, come to QED for comedy. But they have a great setup. I really love this.
Yes. So you know about
you're-
Hermetic Qabalah, but you are also a practicing witch or warlock or
Yeah, how do you
what
identify?
what
How
you
do
you
I
do a lot of
identify?
other things also. I know you're very interested in chaos magic.
Yes.
Yeah, so today I identify as a dude in an X-Files shirt.
Yes.
Kinda who I am.
I love that. By the way, I love that shirt.
And roll. It's a very cool shirt.
Yeah.
We'll
But I've
take a
been
picture of
practicing-
that,
Yeah, we'll
too.
take a picture.
No, just the shirt.
Just the shirt.
Just the shirt. All right. I've been practicing some form of magic for maybe like 20 years.
Nice.
You know, like many of your guests, I was once a Catholic as well,
Mhm.
and back in the 90s, there was a movie called The Craft. You ever heard of it?
We talk about
it's a
it
little familiar
all
to me.
the time.
It's the best movie
yeah.
ever.
Yeah. So I studied Wicca for a bit in high school, as most people do,
Yeah.
and then I kind of pursued a couple of different paths. I got into chaos magic maybe like 20 years ago, and that was
Wow.
kind of like the structure through which I approach most magical systems. And it's always been a little bit of study here and there. I picked it up and put it down. And in the past 2 years, I've kind of done like kind of a more serious focus on like formalizing my writings. I have 20 years of notebooks and scribblings and like little books of shadow. So I'm kind of formalizing that into a couple different things.
That's
Amazing.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool. And we'll talk more about how you're formalizing it because I'm very excited to talk more about your projects. But I think we should maybe for our listeners get more into kind of what we typically do of the background and modern use of Hermetic Qabalah.
Yes.
Yeah? No?
Yeah.
Are we into it?
Yeah, you want to get started?
Yeah, I kind of want to. I just want to dive in because I'm honestly really. I had full disclosure, like no idea about anything about this except like Madonna's red string bracelet thing that happened in the 2000s. Until like I started researching it for this show. So I'm like so fascinated by it. It's really cool. I just want to get into it.
Yeah. This was okay. So I have the history today.
Yes, Emily.
And
Which
this
is always arguably the hardest job.
okay. Oh my God. First off, I had to look up so many words and terms to even start to describe what this is.
Yeah.
In some ways, it took me a little while just to figure out how to even start talking about Qabalah. But so Wikipedia tells us that Hermetic Qabalah is a Western esoteric tradition involving mysticism and the occult. Qabalah comes from the Hebrew word Qabalah, which means reception or accounting. Although I've seen also that it's like translated as like learnings from above or something like that. I forget. I didn't
Or
write this
union
part
or
down.
vehicle. There's a couple different ways to describe it. Yeah.
Cool. On a very basic level, this quote from a website called Evolve and Ascend's article, A Brief Guide to Qabalah for Beginners, helped me kind of start to get a handle on what we're talking about today, which is that Qabalah is a system of understanding reality, a philosophy about the nature of the universe and what lies beyond it, all stemming from a story of how the universe was created. That's what they said. Would you agree or disagree?
I would say it's like 17 different things.
Fair.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
seems super dense.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were also like, maybe this is just scratching the surface and a lot of people will disagree with this article. So I went very light on listening to that article. I mostly I use a lot of different websites, but a lot of Wikipedia, among other things. So from what I understand, it's sort of based around a tree of life sort of figure or image that comes from the same place as Jewish Qabalah, but it's not the same thing as Qabalah or Jewish mysticism. Just to clarify, these are Hermetic Qabalah and Jewish Qabalah they use the same sort of image almost, but they have some things in common, but they're not the same religion or they're not the same sort of set of practices. Just quickly, I did go into what Jewish Qabalah is just to sort of talk about the differentiation, I guess. But Jewish Qabalah is a set of esoteric teachings meant to explain the relationship between God, the infinite, and God's creation, the mortal and finite universe. And it forms the foundation of mystical religious interpretations within Judaism. And Jewish Kabbalists originally developed their own transmission of sacred texts within the realm of Jewish tradition and often use classical Jewish scriptures to explain and demonstrate its mystical teachings. That's from Wikipedia. And so according to tradition, the Jewish Kabbalah dates from Eden and was given, it came from like a remote past as like a revelation, and was used to elect righteous people. This part I'm not sure I really understand, but basically it's according to Jewish tradition, what they think of as the Kabbalah is something that was like from Eden, from the beginning of humanity.
Kind of like an ancient scripture or something,
except it's all
really
based
holy.
around like a picture almost, because it's that circle with like the almost like daisy chainish tree coming down from the top to like a bottom part.
I have some pictures of it.
Oh,
yeah.
The Tree of Life.
The Tree of Life. Well, so what you're talking about is it's Hermetic Kabbalah grew out of Jewish Kabbalah.
Yes.
Well, actually grew out of Christian Kabbalah, which was kind of a late medieval Renaissance thing. Jewish Kabbalah, from my take, seems to have started about in the 12th century. In 12th century Spain, in like Andalusia and the Spanish South. That was the primary point for the Muslim re-injection of the Hellenic texts into Europe. And so there was this guy, Averroes. Ibn Rushd was his Muslim name. He was a scholar, and he believed in this theory of what's called the unity of mind. Mm-hmm. It became very popular in the colleges and the university systems of southern Spain, and as they spread through Europe, the Jewish scholars that followed those universities had this kind of Platonic system that they saw all of us as one mind understanding the universe, and through interpretations through Kabbalah, Talmudic texts. In the 12th and 13th century, they formulated this really complex system that later kind of spun off in a couple different groups as it was translated through different languages. The Madonna Kabbalah that you mentioned is Luriana Kabbalah.
I was trying to find what kind of Kabbalah she was in. Like, I've read a lot about the Kabbalah Center, but I wasn't sure, so that's fascinating.
Yeah, the Kabbalah Center was founded in the 18th century.
Oh, okay.
And it was founded by a guy who studied, this guy Isaac Luria, who wrote in the 16th century during Ottoman Syria, which is now modern Israel. So that was kind of a bit of a split that kind of developed. It repopulated back to New York in the 20th century, but it's also something that like Hasidim, like in New York, still study. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of a different strain of development than what became Christian Qabalah and Hermetic Qabalah that we're talking about now.
Wow.
Okay.
So they're all like branches that
Yeah.
kind of formed from the same like seed, but then became its own tree. No, that's a bad metaphor.
No, that's a good
Yeah,
metaphor.
There's like the
Tree of
word
life,
and the
tree of-
picture, and then there's a whole bunch of different things going on that I'll use the word Qabalah and this sort of shape and
But
and
completely
tree of life
different
figure.
sets of. Yeah, I looked a lot into what the tree of life kind of breaks down into, and the what's it called? Seraph. Oh my God.
The Sephira.
Sephiro.
Yeah.
I couldn't pronounce it. Okay, sorry. Anyway, continue. Also, well done.
Yeah.
We should just have you talk the whole time.
It'll be
I know,
fun,
I know.
yeah.
It's funny to have me talk at all when you know so much, but
But
I
Well, that's
guess
what the fun part is,
yeah,
because
yeah, it's exactly. It's like
What's
we don't
out
know
there
anything.
versus
Yeah,
who lives
this is
it.
what people are gonna get if they Google it. So
Mhm.
it's fun to have you here to be like, no, here's the real.
well, that's what's most interesting about Kabbalah now, kind of as people approach it. Traditionally, it was stuck in these religious traditions, a lot of European mystic groups. Crowley shows up. Like, I've got his book here. Then
Yeah.
you've also got, like, these Hasidic studies that went on for about 300 or 400 years that were kind of male-oriented and
Yeah,
religious-oriented.
wasn't it like only like men over the age of 40 were allowed to study it?
That's still true today.
Yeah.
So like I said, so in Israel
Insane.
and here in New York in the Hasidic communities, they still study Talmudic Kabbalah, where they apply techniques of words and numbers and graphs and tables that is entirely men only. Whereas with the European tradition, it branched off into a lot of the magical groups you guys talked about. But if someone comes at it today, they're able to kind of this big tree, like you said, that grew into a bunch of things. There were all the crazy squirrels on top, picking nuts from whatever branch we want.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of people when you look at people who are studying Kabbalah that have stuff from all over the place. And it's because we have so much access to information now.
Yeah, cool.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love the squirrel metaphor.
Yeah, we're all
that's
crazy
great.
squirrels.
Crazy squirrel.
We're a bunch of crazy squirrels here. Where was I? Oh yeah. Okay, and I actually have a quote about the Talmudic side of Kabbalah, which is I guess in the Talmud it says one should not teach the act of creation in pairs, nor the act of the chariot to an individual unless he is wise and can understand the implications himself, etc. Which I guess is what they interpreted to be like men over the age of 40, maybe. Or was interpreted as like not until an individual who is male is wise enough to understand it.
Well, it's just ageist.
Yes. Yeah.
And sexist. I mean,
And, well, yeah, and sexist too.
to be honest though, it is pretty dense.
Yeah.
It's
Not that it needs to be relegated. I just mean like you gotta. I talk
Yeah.
about this later, but it's
Yeah.
something you really gotta study. It sounds like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is I feel like we're at best going to scratch the surface, and maybe you can help us sort of decode everything and talk about how it's really applied in terms of if you study it now, how you use it and what you sort of or
how to
how it
get
helps you
started.
understand the world.
Yeah.
But okay, so Hermetic Qabalah does use the same sort of picture tree of life to explain the makeup of the universe, to my understanding. There are a whole bunch of different possible sort of interpretations of this figure or uses of it, I think. But the one that I found online as the primary one, rightly or wrongly, is that the outer layer. So the circle that surrounds everything is the physical world that you live in, what you can see, what you can taste, what you can touch, and then there's layers of nothingness, and then the top of the tree is like the source of life or the spark of life or energy, the creator, God, but not like God as father figure, but God as like the thing that came before everything and then created everything else. And then as you go down the tree, it's like I don't know what the top ones are, but I think the lower ones are supposed to be like deity-esque figures, and then like very good humans, and then like okay humans, and then there's sort of like a ranking of humans based on how smart they are and emotional stuff in the astral realm. Is any of that true?
That is an interpretation. So I guess did y'all ever have to study Plato in college?
Yes.
So how deep did you get into Plato?
Barely.
So
we went to
intro
acting
to theater
school.
101.
Okay.
Intro to theater levels of Plato.
Yeah.
So after because that's the fun thing about this history. Literally, I have like notes about Thomas Aquinas in here, and it also says jerk. So basically, from like the 3rd century BC and up until like the fall of Rome, there was a lot of writing about an analytical application of the world where they're trying to come up with what winds up being the elements of like scientific approach. And they were looking at the world as like a growth out of this one divine mind. They called it nous. And they added layers on top of it that nous is like the pure source that things were added onto. And there's things like There was an elemental model, earth, air, water, fire. There is a model where where you have this undefined source, then you have to apply structure to it. And then after structure, you have to apply color to it. And then after color, you have to apply emotion to it. And each one of these kind of layers is an emanation from the source. So the Tree of Life kind of maps that to a 10-point system. That is those Sephira that you mentioned. And they have medieval Jewish names. A lot of them have been translated into Greek, then they were translated into English. So we have kind of English interpretations of them.
Yeah.
And that's how you kind of get the spread. So basically, you've got the Godhead at one point, and there's these layers of manifestation that have descended from that, and we are at the bottom of that. That's at the bottom of the tree. That's Malkuth, the world.
Cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say because in my research, the kind of breakdown of the Tree of Life was actually seems not very different, but definitely different, which I think just goes to show how complex and all the different interpretations.
Mm-hmm.
Because they talked about the Sephiro versus the pathways versus the triads and the pillars and the barriers and then the 4 worlds, and then they brought in the elements like this.
So would it be correct to say it's more like a map that you can use to interpret different things rather than a specific, like it's not like each circle means one thing. It's sort of more like there's a source and then it emanates out and you can think of it as different layers as opposed to...
Well, I mean, I guess the way to describe it is that in like the system of the Hermetic order of the Golden Dawn, that we are the outside layer of an onion. That as you pull layers away, you get back to these primal layers to the eventual source. That the world we live in is an illusion, and that it's just kind of a compound of all of those. That's an onion model, but for a tree, basically, we're at the bottom, and you would be able to climb up towards the Godhead and the source.
Yeah, it seems like each element has its own kind of symbolism, and then within its whole, like you have the one means something, the 2 means something, the 3 means something. Then this triad is like the astral plane or whatever, and then you have like the path, or was it the barrier or whatever? I was watching this.
Well, there's death. So
Right.
basically, you've got a 1 to 10. The 1 is the source. It's called Kathir, where we all come from. You've got 2, which is Chokmah, which is wisdom. You've got Bina, which is understanding. Those are kind of the supernal male and female in the Christian Qabalah that wasn't applied in the Jewish Qabalah. And then you kind of had layers that kind of go down. Someone put planets on there. My guess is in the 18th century, someone also put the tarot on there.
Yes.
So there's a lot of symbolism that's been added onto it.
Right.
But what was the question?
Well, no, it seems like it's almost kind of like a God, why am I so bad with words? This is how I always am. What is it when you with the
You're doing
decoder? The decoder thing. What's that called?
Oh, there's a name for those.
Right.
I forget what they're called.
But it's like that thing where like the more you turn and click and the more you can look at the triads, you can look at the pathways, you can look at the also like where the elements fit in or where the tarot fits in or numerology fits in. Like there's so many different interpretations. It's a very complex like set of symbols that like together and separate all like kind of coincide and mean specific things, right?
Well, kind of. And there's
It's like a
also
puzzle.
well, there's also kind of a spiritual model that we are all a flame from the source filtered through all these these variety of kind of realms of manifestation and kind of types that your soul can actually travel back up this tree to the source. Your body can't because we are like the physical realm. We're the heaviest part of the tree.
Right.
But you can actually go back to the source.
And the physical self is 10, right? Isn't that at the bottom?
Yeah, that's Malkuth.
Okay.
And then I have one question,
Oh,
and then I will get into
Sorry.
what I've got of the sort of history, so to speak.
Yeah.
Would you define this or Hermetic Qabalah overall as a religion or a set of beliefs or a philosophy or what? What would be your like if you had to boil it down to describe it to someone? What would you?
A bunch of Europeans vastly misinterpreting a bunch of stuff. Well, so here's my take.
I love that.
So here's my take. The Hermetic Qabalah kind of grew out of a kind of a bunch of Renaissance thinking, where they're trying to think about the world in these very kind of analytical ways. That came out of like southern Spain, the 12th century. You see the roots of the early Renaissance. You have these individuals who are thinking of the world in this like non-Christian kind of way, where we're not souls created by God, kind of control, that we all are God. And so that appealed to some of the early humanists. One of the fathers of Qabalah in Western magic, his name was Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa. He's German, 14th century, and he actually wrote a book, which I came across this. It's kind of feminist. like it's the declamation of the nobility and preeminence of the female sex that tries to prove the supremacy of female by the Qabalah, like the Kabbalistic like numerology.
Oh.
And in the idea that he was kind of making an argument that like, hey, we're all humans here.
Yeah.
Like one, fuck the aristocracy, fuck the king, and also we should all be citizens. You know,
Yeah.
like there was a variety of individuals who were attracted to Qabalah that were kind of free thinkers, and they were kind of deconstructing the medieval Christian mindset. So it kind of appealed to a bunch of different people. But a lot of this stuff was all made up in the 12th century. So as you mentioned, those books that go back to Eden, they all showed up in the 12th century in Spain. All of a sudden, these like the three major books, like the Zohar, the Bahir, and the Zafir Yetzirah, were all of a sudden discovered in the 13th century in Spain. But they also date back to the second millennium BC because they were able to prove that in the 12th century.
Oh. Right.
And the modern like Talmudic analysis of this indicates that they were from the 12th century Spain.
Okay.
But
Right.
they kind of pretended it wasn't, and then over the decades, as he's gotten to Italy, like these Christians were told that one, they already thought Jewish people were kind of magic to begin with, and they were like, "Of course, your book is 3,000 years old. It would make no sense otherwise."
Right.
Yeah. That's what I found about Christian Kabbalah was basically that it was Christians being like, "This is neat. Let's apply our thought to this. Like, let's apply our religion to this picture and this idea and this like." I like that idea.
That sounds
Let's
magic.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Which is totally how so many things develop in this world, and why not? You know, if it gives you something to think about. And
Yeah, I mean,
it's
those teachings
productive.
seem pretty cool. I'd be down with that. Let's all be citizens and free love and
stuff.
And also fuck the king.
fuck the king. Yeah.
Fuck the king.
I was trying to remember the
Yes.
other point. Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck the king. That's what I really like.
Behead the king.
Right?
Not
Not to say anything radical or anything.
Right. Okay, so Hermetic Kabbalah is the underlying philosophy and framework for a number of magical and mystical religious societies, and it's a precursor, or it's considered a precursor to the neo-pagan, Wiccan, and New Age movements. As Kate will talk about later, our good friend Aleister Crowley started out in something called the Golden Dawn, which has nothing to do with the Greek fascist party, but the Golden Dawn that before he then went off and did all of his Aleister Crowley things. Nearest I can tell.
It's all part of it.
Yeah.
Which is actually still around.
Hmm?
The Hermetic Order of the
Yes.
Golden Dawn
Yeah.
Inc. is incorporated in the state of New York. The guy is like 98 now who founded it.
Wow.
And like, so I think he's like out of like going to do stuff, and I've been trying to like hunt out a way to go meet with him.
Oh
Oh my god. If
Yeah.
you do,
And you want to do a special episode? of
Yeah,
Get him in
Witchcast, let
here.
us know.
I did go to that website, and some of it was like, I was like, oh no, they got my information. Like, I was clicking through a little too deeply.
Oh man, my Safari froze in a way that was unstoppable, and I was like, "What did I click? What does my computer
I have a feeling it's
now?"
a lot of like old website servers.
Yeah.
Their website, because I saw the same one.
Yeah.
It was made in 2008.
Oh, okay.
Like
But
I checked the code. It was like last updated in 2008.
He's
Yeah,
just 98,
That's still
so
He's
pretty,
just
But,
98.
but think about that.
Running a
That's still
cult.
11 years ago. Like, that's
Yeah.
still pretty old by internet standards
It's
in terms
wild
of
how things are
updating
moving
a server.
forward.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
all right.
Lots of
so,
Comic Sans.
so the Hermetic Kabbalah is also the basis for a word that I'm going to really struggle to say, but Clifothic Kabbalah?
Clipothic Qabalah.
Clipothic
Yeah.
Kabbalah, which is what's studied by what's called left-hand path orders, which are supposed to be sort of like a malicious black magic side of things, but in practice are a group of, from my understanding, occult esoteric type orders that embrace the dark and the light and believe that you have to confront and embrace the dark in the world in order to neutralize it. So that would be like groups that tend to embrace like sex magic, satanic imagery, spiritual freedom. They're likely to question dogma as different units. And according to Wikipedia, as Mog Morden wrote, the breaking of taboos makes magic more potent and can lead to reintegration and liberation. For example, the eating of meat in a vegetarian community can have the same liberating effect as anal intercourse in a sexually inhibited straight society.
Yeah.
He had me for the first part of that.
I know. I wanted to read the whole quote because
I'm
I think it
into
was
it.
important. I almost cut it down and then I was like, I mean,
No,
why not?
I love it.
Like eating meat in vegetarian in India, like sounds kind of rude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I
I guess if you are
But anal.
person
Yeah,
who
anal. There we go.
is in that society. Not like just showing up and doing it, but like who's within the
Fuck
society.
the
and,
vegans.
like,
No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck you, Dad.
Fuck you, Dad.
No, but I love that. They sound really fun.
I wanted to define that just because I was intrigued by that.
It sounds like it's not about so much as being contrarian, but so much as about just questioning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the like optimistic interpretation of that.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's more about just questioning everything that you're kind of dealt with, and not just taking things as is or following
I mean,
society's
I'm sure there are
orders
people that
because.
practice it in every possible way. but-
Sure.
Yeah,
but-
like, I mean, well, Klipothic Qabalah, it's like, all right, so Klipothic Qabalah is a wholly 20th century thing.
Yeah.
The Klipoths do show up in Talmudic doctrine. They have a variety of names depending on the school you talk about.
Oh, cool.
The bottom of the Klipoths is that this isn't the first universe. Like, God tried this once,
Yeah.
and it didn't work. And it collapsed and it fell, then this was built on top of it.
Oh, we're talking about the Berenstein Bear universe then.
Yeah, that one. Universe A.
Yeah.
And so that's actually where you get the abyss. The idea that he initially made the Tree of Life once with 11 nodes, and because that wasn't primally balanced, it kind of broke at Dath, which is in between the source, and Tifareth, which is beauty, but also maps to the sun. And so that doesn't show up in our tree. But those Klipoths, like, depending on how they were interpreted, it was a very kind of a Luciferian, like 1950s, 1960s thing, like Hell's place where demons are from. It really appealed to those of us who were really
Goth.
goth. Yeah, there you go. Goth, yeah.
I was gonna say they sound goth.
Yeah. Like, so these are goth people you're talking about, by the way.
Yeah.
Leave me alone, Mom.
Yeah, I was imagining sort of in the realm of like Satanism and that kind of thing, like the people that are, which is sort of just I mean, I don't
know.
wanna,
We haven't done Satanism yet. So
I know. I don't want to
Uh,
make any bold statements, but I feel like a lot of it is about like a personal. What's the word I'm looking for? Anarchy. Like
Yeah.
like just like
Do
being
your own thing.
anarchic person, like in how you deal with the world. A
It
little
also
bit, you know?
publishes a lot of books, too.
Oh, really?
When you say you're able to talk to demons, you're able to sell a lot of books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Demons are sexy. Demons sell.
Demons are sexy.
That's why they're in every movie and TV show.
All right.
Also, I I love the idea that we're like a second draft, because that does not, to me, that doesn't mean final.
Right.
Like, this is just a fine cut.
Yeah. They haven't
There's
even
still some
sent it out
kinks
for
to work
notes
out.
yet.
Yeah.
It's only been 10 million years. We can try over again.
Yeah, that's nothing.
I mean, I think we're right around the place where we're getting submitted for notes.
Yeah. I think this is like this. We're reaching the place where it's either gonna fail or it's gonna succeed.
Yeah. The client's
Speaking-
either going to scrap this or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of the environment. Anyway.
All right. So Hermetic Qabalah, as you were talking about, really got started sort of a little bit before the European Renaissance.
It's actually, I would call it an enlightenment thing. Like this symbol right here, the Tree of Life, that if you look up Qabalah, you see, the first thing that shows up in literature is with this dude, Eliphas Levi, who was, I think he was German. Eliphas Levi was a writer whose real name was Al.
They love him up there.
The people are going nuts for Eliphas Levi.
For Eliphas Levi, whose original name was Al, he was a French socialist. He was a Fourierist, so he was also like a utopian communist, and he was a Bonapartist. So he believed like Napoleon should rule.
He's got
France.
a little bit of everything going
Yeah,
on.
You
it just-
said furrierist? I was immediately went to furries.
No.
I don't know. What is a
He's-
furrier? What is a furrier?
Wait, say that again. Sorry, I just knocked a microphone.
Charles Fourier was a utopian designer of communities. He actually built a couple in Western New York.
Oh.
Like he believed in kind of things like the communities based on equality, constructed around like utilitarian relationships that we all kind of live together. We all kind of work in very specific ways, which was kind of a novel model for 17th century France.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So Eliphas Levi. He studied a variety of schools where Qabalah wound up in the 15th century. The literature was available and around. There was groups like Rosicrucian societies, or the groups that led to the Golden Dawn, that he came across this stuff with, and he published a book, and that led to the first kind of formation of this tree published in French and English. And that's kind of the start of what we would call Hermetic Qabalah. Everything
Wow.
between like the medieval Jewish Qabalah and that would be Christian Qabalah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. It's all making. Wow, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
I was just swimming.
I had
was
to
like,
diagram
drowning.
this when I was putting my notes together.
That's so helpful.
Yes.
What a storied history.
And we're hearing it for the first time, so putting our notes together is like, I'm gesturing as if I'm looking at a wall full of like a collage or something,
Yeah.
like a vision board that's very confused.
Or it's like that episode of Always Sunny where
Yeah.
Yes,
where-
that's
With the
exactly
string
what I
and
was
the
thinking.
Carol,
String.
Carol.
It's all here.
That's what I
It's all
felt.
here.
That's what I felt like when I was kind of putting my notes together again. I was like, all right, I'd like dust off a couple little books.
Yeah, you could use the red string too.
Yeah.
Okay, so Hermetic Qabalah got started in the Reformation, and then in the European Renaissance, it was around alongside Christian Qabalah. And then Hermetic Qabalah ultimately branched out into a whole bunch of different belief systems, some of which were esoteric Christian, some were non-Christian, some were anti-Christian, and there's a whole bunch of different schools in the modern era. It draws on a ton of different influences, but especially Jewish Kabbalah, which we talked about, Western astrology, alchemy, pagan religions, especially Egyptian and Greco-Roman religions, Neoplatonism, which, as we talked about, is Platonic philosophy, meaning Plato, not the friend zone, and Gnosticism, which I'm going to come back to. And, you know what, actually, I'm going to define Gnosticism right now because that's the order I did it in my notes, which I wanted to talk about because I'd never heard that word before.
Really?
Or I'd heard agnosticism, but I'd never really thought about what the opposite of that might be.
Yeah, they were the weird Christians.
Yeah.
They were the weird Christians
I
that
thought you were
didn't
just
make it into the
pronouncing
Bible.
agnosticism in a
No,
No,
so it's the
it's-
opposite of
way.
agnosticism.
Whoa.
Gnosticism
Mind blown.
is a variety of ancient religious ideas, or ancient is maybe the wrong word, but religious ideas and systems. Some say originating in Hellenistic Judaism, so the systems believe that the material world is created by an emanation of works of a lower god trapping the divine spark within the human body. It's the ancient ones, and then the divine spark. Or so the overall idea is that the divine spark of God that's trapped in the human body can be liberated by gnosis.
Gnosis.
Gnosis?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm saying it like gnocchi. It's a gnosis.
Gnocchi
La pizza. Spiritual, which is spiritual knowledge acquired through direct experience.
High level Gnosticism is the dude who made this universe isn't a good guy. Like the manager sucks, and like the devil and also the spirits of the world are like actively in rebellion against it. The devil is called the Demiurge. It's the creator of the universe, and like everything else is good, and they're trying to get out. And so there was like a variety. It drawed on a lot of stories from the Middle East, from the Hellenic world. Jesus, as a kid, would smite his enemies, like in person, like you dead. I don't like you. So there's a lot of stuff that didn't wind up in like the European Christian canon.
I always knew Jesus was an asshole.
Right? There's some missing parts there. Yeah.
I've always wondered that though, right? It's like it's like Wicked versus Wizard of Oz. It's like who's
the real bad
Yeah,
guy
who's the real bad
Who wrote
guy?
this story
Yeah,
down? You know?
exactly. We only have all of history is just from one person's perspective, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, that and there's 30 years where he's missing. That was just kind of like what is it called?
Yeah.
It was
You
just,
yada 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 over the best part.
Wait, I thought he was 3. Yeah.
Yeah, what was Jesus doing back then?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if Gnosticism is the idea that information or like divine knowing helps you get closer to sort of the spark of existence, then agnosticism is its opposite, because agnosticism is all about believing that whatever God is or whatever created us or whatever the spark of life is in the universe is unknowable. So
Oh.
But those are separated by like 2,000 years of history.
yes.
Like Gnostics were like they
Yeah,
call themselves
they
Gnostics.
didn't like
in,
rise together and be like, I'm Gnostic, I'm agnostic.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of a coincidence.
Wait, so
probably
did
that the terms
Gnosticism come first?
Yeah,
yes, by a long shot.
yeah.
Okay.
Gnosticism was like a big thing in like the first millennium BC.
Oh, okay.
And then around like the 18th century with the development of humanist philosophies like agnostic philosophy
Gotcha.
used the same kind of, because they thought like Greek nomenclature was real cool.
Yeah.
So they kind of.
So Gnosticism, not to dwell on this because it's not technically what we're supposed to. I know.
Yeah.
Doesn't
But
matter.
it's one of the.
But it is
it's like part of it.
I
sort
also am
of,
just
right?
fascinated by
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, and they use Hermetic. So that's actually what's really interesting. So like Gnosticism developed as a humanistic philosophy, which we got a bunch of them in like the post Enlightenment. We got socialism. We have utilitarianism. We have Fourierism, which we just talked about.
Right.
And they also had a love for the ancient world through their 18th century lens. And Gnosticism was something that a bunch of them fell in love with and wrote it into this stuff.
Oh, okay.
So that's why they put like astrology and the Greco-Roman planets, the Greco-Roman gods and the Egyptian gods into the system. Previous to that, you wouldn't really find like Ra or Isis in this, or the tarot. Like the first time it shows up is like the 1850s.
This is so good. This is so fascinating.
They don't tell you about that.
No.
Like you gotta put it together.
You never learn about this. Okay, this is why we want to do this, though, so we can learn and hopefully other people can learn too.
Yes. Okay, and then so other things that feed into the beautiful stew that is Hermetic Qabalah.
Beautiful stew.
It also features the Enochian system of angelic magic of John Dee and Edward Kelly, who were occult Renaissance buddies in England, one of whom worked for Queen Elizabeth I, and they were kind of also maybe like...
Con artists?
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
John Dee also invented the term British Empire.
Hi.
He was the one who proposed that to Queen
Speaking
Elizabeth.
of con artists.
So a magician con artist invented the
Uh-huh.
British Empire. If that
Yeah.
really kind of explains like the past 300 years of history.
Yarp.
My mind just continually is just.
Yeah.
Everything's been a lie. I don't know anything.
The world is crazy.
Yeah.
And then Hermeticism, which obviously lends its name to the Hermetic Qabalah, and so I'm going to define that also.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Holy shit. This whole time we've only just been defining the word
Qabalah.
Qabalah.
Well, no, we're just talking about all the things that go into
No, I'm just
Hermetic
teasing you.
Qabalah.
I'm just,
It's
fine.
like a beautiful chili of ingredients.
It's a real messy chili.
I
isn't
It's
it?
a real
I was
messy
gonna say,
chili.
yeah.
There's
It's
stuff on
heavy in the
there's stuff on the
stomach.
counter.
Trying to-
There's some pineapple in there, like 7 different kinds of onions
Yeah.
cooked at different times.
Someone spilled some wine in there.
Right.
Sounds like delicious runs.
So Hermeticism is a religious, philosophical, and esoteric tradition based primarily upon writings attributed to Hermes
Trismegistus.
Trismegistus.
Damn, you're so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I know. His writings were heavily influenced the Western esoteric tradition in general, and were what they really picked up on in the Reformation and the Renaissance. To my understanding, that then got mixed in with the whole Qabalah thing. So the tradition traces its origin to a doctrine that affirms the existence of a single true theology that is present in all religions and that was given by God to man in antiquity. But what's important about it is that it what you were saying earlier, it sort of created the groundwork for scientific thinking. And so Hermeticism has been talked about positively by a lot of big thinkers over the years, including but not limited to Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Huh.
Just a little fun fact.
Good old Ralph shows up.
Yeah. Also some ancient people like Augustine of Hippo,
Yeah.
Lactantius.
It goes all the way to the top.
Yeah, Tommaso Campanella.
Great guy.
Yeah, great guy.
I don't know him.
And so, people that were very Christian that were into this considered him a wise pagan prophet who foresaw the coming of Christianity. But again, what's cool about Hermeticism is that it's historically important because of its connection with the development of science from around like 1300 to 1600 AD, because it sort of brought to prominence the idea that you can influence or control nature. Does this sound right? Isaac Newton got into it, basically. So it was the practical aspects of Hermetic writings that attracted scientists. So because they liked the idea of an unadulterated, pure, ancient doctrine, or like an unadulterated, like that there is sort of a pure fact kind of thing, right?
Kinda.
Kinda.
I mean, it's like the ultimate
Help
golden
me.
age. Like, there's this dude, Hermes Trismegistus. He was, depending on which kind of stories you looked at, he was ancient Egyptian. He was Thoth, the god of wisdom. And there's a bunch of books from about the 3rd or 4th century BC that are attributed to him, called the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. It's kind of nonsensical. It doesn't really say a lot. There's a model as above, so below. It's the idea that the words we use are magical in themselves.
Oh yeah, they say that in the craft.
They do. They do. Manon.
Yeah.
That the words we use are magic, and that through arranging the correct words and colors and things, we can do things like summon ghosts, or ancestors at the time, or or do what we call magic. Have my doubts about whether or not it was really Egyptian, because Hermes is a Greek root term that means
Right.
hidden. So there's no way the Egyptians would have had that, which it means it probably came out of late antiquity. And I think that there's always kind of been cults of nerds who thought they could do magic, and it's like a real good bonding thing. If
Yeah.
you're the bishop, you're the duke, and I'm the mayor of town,
Yeah.
we all get to hang out and
We're all looking at you, the religion of Quidditch, 100,000 years from now.
Right.
Yeah, right.
10 years from now.
10 years from now.
Somewhere in that range.
Secret society.
100 years.
Yeah.
And then it also synced up with a European mystery tradition, which was a set of cults aligned with the gods that had I guess, have you guys touched on initiation?
Not at all.
No.
All right, initiation is just, I would call it a psychological transformation caused by putting yourself through a tough time. If you lock someone in a cave and you pipe in CO2 for a while from a natural vent, like the Oracle of Delphi, they will experience psychologically revelatory visions over the course of time. That if you do that long enough, you kind of come out a different person. And there was cults like that would do that for Mithras in the Roman Empire. Hermes was one of them. There was a variety of cults in Italy and Greece that would do that, as well as probably Gaul and Spain. And I think that created several groups that picked up the Hermetic value system. And then that kind of led to these natural affinity groups that we see later, with the Masons as well as the Rosicrucians. But they've always kind of been there through Europe.
I'm nodding vigorously.
Yeah, no, that's so. Yeah, it's just my mind is just doing that Charlie Day Always Sunny thing again, because it's Masons came up in my research as well, and then obviously with all the different all the different types of Qabalah and all the different organizations, and then I'm Illuminati, and then I'm just starting to think about how they all intersect or where they all come from. That's fascinating.
So here's my take on it. There's a variety. So initiation as a system is in chaos magic. It's called psychodrama. It's what Scientology does. Like L. Ron Hubbard was a chaos magician. He figured if you take someone, you give them this really weird sci-fi kind of thing, and you make them read it and rewrite it and say it for 3 years, and then you put them in isolation for 30 days, and you force them to fast, they will hallucinate in whatever kind of symbolic language you give them. And so I think a lot of these groups were doing the same thing. So one group could be worshiping, say, Diana, right? And then they go through an initiatory process, and they would hallucinate Diana. Well, someone else would do Thoth or Isis or Ra, and that's what Crowley did. Crowley did Ra. Yeah. And so it was a psychologically true thing that worked for all of them, but there was no real connecting thing than different groups of humans discovering the same psychological technology to kind of impact their own groups.
That's crazy. That is wild. That's so because also it is such psychology at the same time, and that fascinates me. Yeah, of course, whatever you're learning about and immersed in, and then you're put in a hallucinogenic situation, you're going to then interpret that to be what you are immersed, a symbol of what you're immersed in, right?
And that was actually we've got Crowley's book 4 in front of us. In my take, that was Crowley's entire thing. Previous to his entire career, he spent a few years in India at a Buddhist monastery.
Right.
And then he ate some mushrooms and hallucinated in Buddhist. And he was like, wait, hold on. What if I do this, but I recreate the ancient Egyptian religion? Will I see Ra and Isis and Hathor? And that's what Dilemma's all about. It was Crowley kind of basically doing this, what we would call neuropsychological engineering.
Fascinating.
And then with Qabalah, you get this system where there's kind of this underlying level of practice where you study and you could provide the symbol system to yourself. That's also base 10. It's really easy for the brain to latch on to. It's got color. It's got a variety of things that in the practice of Hermetic Qabalah, pathworking is kind of a big thing, mental travel to these places. It's scaffolded with this mythology that we are all over the source and kind of traveling upwards. And the idea behind Qabalah, my take was, study it for long enough and you start to dream in it, which it works for me.
Yeah. It's like a neural / celestial roadmap.
So I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Then we get Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa, who we talked about a little bit, but who kind of rocked.
Yeah, he seemed like a really cool dude.
German.
He
I'd party
lived.
with
He
him.
lived as a so he was born in 1486.
Mhm.
At 1508, his introduction with Qabalah. He spent about 5 years living in Spain as a mercenary.
Rad.
Huh.
He was a duke's son and ran off to Spain to be a mercenary.
Nice.
And he came back with all these weird ideas, and then he wrote the Declaration of the Nobility and Preeminence of the Female Sex, a Kabbalistic justification of the superiority of the female sex.
Hear me out, guys.
I-
Women are human.
I like this dude.
Right? Like
I want to party with him.
yeah, he seems like he was a pretty okay dude to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty like progressive for his time.
Yeah. I bet a lot he was like, none of y'all understand me. Like,
Yeah.
no one gets me.
Way ahead of his time.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Do you ever just feel like you're ahead of your time?
Hi, my name's Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa, and this is my podcast.
Oh, I'd listen to it.
Yeah.
And
Subscribe.
then the next thing I have is in the 1500s, we've got John Dee and Edward Kelly and Queen Elizabeth doing all sorts of fanciful things that are not really related, but they were interested in Hermeticism and Hermetic Qabalah and that kind of thing. So they get a footnote. And then it contributed, according to Wikipedia again, it contributed strongly to the Renaissance view of ritual magic's relationship with Christianity.
Mhm.
Pico's Hermetic syncretism, it says, was further developed. Oh, this is
Pico was also a cool
Giovanni
guy.
Pico della Mirandola.
Yep, he is the literal Renaissance man. He was born in 1463. When he was 10, his mom died in labor, and he declared himself an enemy of the church for his entire life because they refused to kind of like support the medicine he wanted to study at 10.
Wow.
And then he this baller move in 1486 when he was 23. He did what's called the 900 defenses. He claims to have mastered 900 things, and he invited all the great minds in Europe to come and debate with him. And they did that all summer long. He also had boyfriends, girlfriends. He's a literal Renaissance man. He was a polymath. He studied Hebrew, Arabic, Aramaic. He also studied with a variety of Averroes scholars in Italy, who is where I think he got the introduction to Kabbalistic thinking.
Cool.
He also seems like a really cool dude.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's a variety of individuals in here who like, but also what's great is that about every like 30 years or so you have a Giovanni Pico della Mirandola or a Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa who looked at the assembled knowledge and no one told them like this kind of stuff, and so they spent their life trying to re-understand it, and they added it, and they would publish a book like the 3 occult treatises by Agrippa. And they would add more stuff to it because they were like, this is what I required for this to make sense.
Yeah.
And then 30 years later, someone would find this dusty old tome, and they were like, none of this makes sense to me. I have to rewrite it.
Right,
And,
yeah. I must read this, learn to understand it, add my own stuff, and see what happens.
Yeah.
But
and-
that's great though. You're
Yeah.
getting a lot of different learnings and perspectives though, and in one, subject. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and that's when we get like kind of the modern point where it kind of crystallized into Hermetic Qabalah, where Eliphas Levi published his work that mapped the tarot to the tree of life. I'm sure he probably heard that before. Like I don't know. I doubt he kind of came up with that. And that was also the advent of modern publishing, like as it existed in the post-Enlightenment era. So that was like the largest point where more people had access to his literature.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
And then Eliphas Levi, that's what I had for the early 1800s.
His name was
too.
Al. His name was Al
Al.
Constant.
Al Constant.
Nice.
But his fanciful literary embellishments of magical invocations presented Kabbalism as synonymous with both so-called white and so-called black magic. Levi's innovations included attributing the Hebrew letters to the tarot cards, thus formulating a link between Western magic and Jewish esotericism, which has remained fundamental ever since in Western magic. Levi had a deep impact on the magic of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, bringing us to Aleister Crowley and Kate's turn.
Our guy Al, what do you got?
Yeah. Well, so
Uh,
and you said Crowley before though, right? So you say Crowley or Crowley?
I have a British friend once told me that, like, because he's a Highlands guy.
Right,
Like, if
right.
someone had a name like that, it's pronounced like Crow.
Crowley. I like Crowley better than Crowley. He
yeah, I
doesn't-
do think that that's how they said it also on Good Omens,
Ah,
starring
Oh,
David
yeah.
Tennant.
Oh, yeah, they
Good
did.
show. I
yeah.
love that show.
who I think was named Crowley.
His name was
in that.
Crowley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
There's also a
Hmm.
character in Supernatural named Crowley.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's all related. No.
No.
Well, so I
Carol.
I was picking up from exactly right where Emily left off, where the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, where Hermetic Qabalah was developed extensively. Its modern form was our adaptation from our friend Levi, but was really even more so developed by S.L. McGregor Mathers, the co-founder of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And Emily already kind of talked about it, but this magical organization incorporated Judaic Kabbalah, Egyptology,
Rosicrucianism.
Thank you. Ritual magic, astrology, tarot, Indian Tatwa system.
Yeah.
And that really kind of, I think, from my understanding, then gave birth to then other offshoots, which include our good friend Alistair, as well as Dion Fortune came up as well, Violet Firth, who then went off and split off and created their own kind of, organizations and sets of beliefs and practices, breaking that down a little bit, because there's others. I should also mention people who've added to the rich symbolism of the Hermetic tree. Frater Achad,
Yeah.
Kenneth Grant, Gareth Knight, Bill Hendrick.
I don't know.
Oh, just to name a few. I'm not going to go into
I
them.
think those are. I think Frater Achad and Kenneth Grant are both chaos magicians.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about. So Aleister Crowley, who he went on to form his own magical orders after he went through the Golden Dawn. He's probably the most widely known exponent of Hermetic magic. He published a book, Liber 777.
Yeah. Which is just like. It's Excel sheets. That's all it is.
Really?
It's literally just reference charts.
Man after my own heart.
In the book we have in front of us, which is actually book 4 by Crowley. It's like 1,000 pages. There's a variety of correspondences. It is a thick tome. That's how I roll.
Thick with 2 C's.
There's at least 5 tables of correspondences. There's Greek. There's some Arabic in here.
Wow.
As I was reading through, one of my favorite things that I forgot about was there's correlations between Greek gods and Hindu gods, but the phrasing is animals, real and imaginary, plants, real and imaginary. Like it's like 2 columns, like unicorns and shamrocks.
Nice.
As well as opium and poppy.
And then, but what was that in relation to? Like what they're used for, where their origins are from?
I can't tell. Like this is like 100 years later.
Wow.
So like I'm primarily self-taught with this stuff.
Right.
Like my introduction to Hermetic Qabalah was a book I almost brought with me. I have the volume 1 and 2 of Israel Regardie's text of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. This dude, Israel Regardie, he took charge of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn in the first part of the 20th century, and then he turned it into like mail order witchcraft, where he was mailing people different pamphlets and books, and he published them all. And that was my introduction to Crowley. I met some Thelemites, people from the OTO. At the risk of insulting your leadership or your listenership, I don't know. I've never had really good encounters with the organizations. They're individuals who are very kind of locked in, like, to their way of creating stuff. Whereas Crowley he was a lot of stuff, but he was a prankster. He kind of made stuff up as he went along.
Yeah.
Like in here, there's a reference for this spell. You need 6 candles made from the fat of a hanged man. With an asterisk, and at the bottom of the asterisk, like it's like, or store bought is fine.
Yeah.
It's like the emotional gravitas you put into stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's another one here. There's in one table. There's selection of Egyptian gods. Second column, small selection of Hindu deities. Like just to like draw a reference in between.
Yeah.
Like Anubis and Hanuman for some reason. So he published Liber 7.7, and it's just all tables of just stuff. He's just relating to each other.
Yeah, that's what I have here in my research. It's a set of tables of correspondence relating to various parts of ceremonial magic in Eastern and Western religion, to the 32 numbers representing the 10 spheres, the Sephiroth, plus the 22 paths of the Kabbalistic tree of life.
And that's in the first 30 pages.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
just saying that sentence made me exhausted.
This is very much something that if you're interested in listenership, you might need to do more research than this episode.
Yeah. Well, like Israel Regardie's stuff is some of the most accessible stuff I came across. Like there is he published 4 volumes of the body of ritual the Golden Dawn had, which he kind of like put them on blast. But he also wrote a book called Garden of Pomegranates, which is the most accessible book I've ever come across for the tarot. It actually has the foreword by this dude, Chick Cicero, who is the 95-year-old man who runs Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn Inc. here in New York. It has a variety of path workings. The path workings at the end of Garden of Pomegranates, there's one for each one of the Navatoth, the connection between the Sephira, as well as each Sephira. You can record them all and listen to yourself while you're in meditation. It's the most accessible thing I've come across.
And that's called the Garden of Pomegranates?
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Is that is that a reference to the idea of the tree, the fruit of the tree of wisdom or whatever?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The forbidden fruit being a pomegranate?
Persephone
Yeah.
and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Fascinating. Okay, well that's helpful.
Persephone or something.
I bet she's in here somewhere if you wanted to find a reference.
So that brings me to, though, actually, so Dion Fortune, who was another, practitioner within the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, who then branched out, and she was an initiate then of Alpha at Omega, which was an offshoot of Golden Dawn. And she also went on to found the Fraternity of Inner Light and wrote the book, The Mystical Qabalah, which is considered one of the best general introductions to modern Hermetic Qabalah. That's, I guess, someone's opinion. But
I found it dated.
You found it dated?
I found it to be a really dated description. The version of Garden of Pomegranates that I have comes with the Cicero annotation, so it gives you notes on it.
Okay.
The Dion Fortune stuff, it's very flowery.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you will see the great Sephira Ketir, which is the luminous crown. It doesn't really kind of give a breakdown of exactly in language that we're used to using. It's about 100 years old.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because she actually had this quote that I thought was really interesting. And I found a lot of my information, again, like Emily, on Wikipedia and stuff, but I also found this spiritsciencecentral.com.
Oh, I had them too.
Which
Yeah.
they have the animated
didn't end up
explainers
reading
that I
any of
was
that, but-
watching.
but-
I'll send it to you. I'm curious to see your thoughts on it because the animated explainers that I watched helped me greatly because also it's just a nice way to be able to distill information. But there was a quote in that article by Dion that says, "No student will ever make any progress in spiritual development who flits from system to system. First, using some new thought affirmations and then some yoga breathing exercises and meditation postures, and then following these by an attempt at mystical methods of prayer. Each of these systems has value, but that value can only be realized if the system is carried out in its entirety." The value does not lie in the prescribed exercises as ends in themselves, but in the powers that will be developed if they are persevered with. And then she goes on to say that after a permanent enhancement of consciousness has been achieved, we may, not without advantage, experiment then with methods that have been developed upon other paths and build up an eclectic technique and philosophy therefrom. But the student who sets out to be an eclectic before he has made himself an expert will never be anything more than a dabbler. And I was like,
That's just rude.
yeah, girl. I felt like
Rude.
red. I was
Okay, like, okay, all right.
I thought that was interesting, though. I mean, in the article I got this quote from, went on to kind of more explain it of like exercise of like, and to that end I was like, okay, I hear you, of like if you just work out once a month you're not going to really see any progress.
That feels kind of antithetical to the Hermetic Qabalah thing, though, because it incorporates so many different.
Well, so the
Things.
entire Hermetic Qabalah thing, like it goes back to Eliphas Levi, it goes back to the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, who said they have like received direct knowledge of these ancient traditions that date back to basically the Neolithic, that they're really made up in the 12th century. It's a variety of thoughts and thought techniques and meditational systems of revealed truth that people experienced after a lifetime of study and they wrote down. And in my take, and a lot of like the Christian Kabbalah, these are people writing down really personal religious experiences with medieval and pre-Renaissance language that doesn't have the amount of fidelity that we are able to kind of put in now. So it doesn't make sense to the next person, so they rewrite it.
Yeah.
There's a kind of a sense of authoritarianism that kind of runs through it. Also, once again, she was a modern writer. She was trying to sell books.
Yeah.
There's a couple different ways you can take an understanding of her, like of these individuals who went from magical organization to magical organization. A lot of them basically had subscriptions.
Yeah.
They were memberships. They were literally businesses.
Right. It's like, you don't know magic. You have to buy my book and read my book if you want to know magic.
You have to
That-
sign up for the OG subscription service, and I will mail you this. You have to send me a check every month, and I will mail you pamphlets.
Right. Which is, that's gross.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's true that like not ever getting serious with any one thing is probably worse than trying a little bit of
I don't
everything.
even know how
but-
someone could be a casual in just our very brief research on this show today.
I don't know
like,
that there's such an
I don't know if
option.
you can be a casual dabbler in Hermetic Qabalah. I think you
Mhm.
you have to really I still don't understand it. Like, I don't even know what to do.
Yeah, which I really want to ask about
Lumo-
how you. I really want to ask about how you actually apply this, or how you have applied it
Mhm.
at any point in terms of your practice, or how
Yeah.
has it affected you, and how you like what do you do with
What do we
this
do?
information?
What do you
Okay,
do?
so I mean these are references for rituals. There are in the book in front of us in Liber Book 4 by Crowley, in the Appendix 5, which is about 300 pages from the end, and this is from 777. There are 4 different models of the Qabalah with different information on it, and they all look dense. So there's like 50 different information points in each one of these. If you wanted to do an invocation of Mercury to help you study for something, like I did when I was in college, or you would look up Hod, which is number 8. Hod means splendor. It's generally correlated with Mercury. There are angels that are ascribed to it. It is the 4/8 of the tarot. It is also the symbol of Practicus in the Golden Dawn system. There's also tons and tons of references that you can literally just DIY your own Mercury ritual. You get a statue of Mercury, you put out your 4/8, you put out the color orange, you can write that down and burn that sigil. There are incense tables in 777 that relate to the kind of incense that you want. You have your invocation, you can look up what gods are related to Mercury, and then that's what you got to pass the test. In the Golden Dawn system, the later Cicero stuff and the Regardi stuff, there's a lot more focus on sitting meditation and kind of focus and intentional stuff. So one of the things that I do is there's a very basic banishing ritual as well as a charging ritual called a middle pillar that you align this image with your body. And so light descends from the top, from Kathir to your different chakras. And then
I read a thing that was like it can also be applied to your body as like
I was gonna
chakras.
say,
And
yeah, I was getting
but-
major chakra vibes when I was researching this. Yeah.
Well, Regardi as well as Crowley had a huge Victorian interest in Eastern mysticism, and they imprinted it a lot onto this. I don't integrate that into my work because it seems kind of hacky. It seems like these were a bunch of British dudes who kind of had a bit of a nerd boner for the mystic East, you know?
Sure.
And I think it's really kind of forced in. But the practice of doing a body visualization is it's common to all mystic systems. So you can go through there. And one of the cool ones is that it's a cool little meditation. I don't know if I came across this in the Cicero work or it's something that I came up with for myself. Each one of these Sephira has an angel. And the higher you get, at the lower levels, you have cherubs and you have Elohim, little kind of god names. The middle, the Sephira above Earth is called Yesod. It's also aligned with the moon. The angels from that are called, what are they? It's a gimel. It's a little flicker of light. It's also in Luriana Qabalah. It's what's applied to what touched all the people outside of the temple to be able to let them speak tongues in the Bible. You're supposed to be able to summon one of those, imagine kind of sitting over your head for 10, 15 minutes of meditation, and that will inspire you to creativity.
Oh.
And having done this for 15 years, I think the act of getting yourself to a space where you can sit for 15 minutes in silent meditation.
Yeah, that's hard.
You've got a lot of really good psychological scaffolding going on there, you know?
Right.
And so that's the actual magic there.
Yeah.
But also it's DIY. It's basically, these are recipe books for doing rituals.
I remembered the word that I was trying to remember earlier, and it's a cryptex. It's the Tree of Life is like a cryptex where you just kind of move and associate, and you're and you connect things to create your own rituals. Yes, no,
You
kind
can,
of?
yeah.
Is that the right metaphor?
And there's also there's ideas in Luriana Qabalah that this is multidimensional.
Yeah.
That these parts move around and configure in different ways.
Oh my God.
And that depending on
It
how
moves.
it moves. Depending on how you look at it, it's going to look differently, and that's how they describe the different manifestations of God. And that's in Luriana Qabalah. That doesn't get into a lot of the Hermetic stuff because a lot of the Lurianic stuff was written in Hebrew, as well as some Greek, and some Turkish.
Cool.
Okay, I feel like this is crazy. I think this might be the densest subject, and that's not saying something
That
we're
we've ever
even approaching.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of take us a little bit of a step back and just really talk more about your experience, because as we have been, because it's fascinating. So you said that you started by coming across a book that kind of inspired you. Can you talk a bit more about how you got started, and then how you like to use? Talk a bit more about how you like to use Hermetic Qabalah in your life.
Yeah. So I'm 36 now. When I was in high school, I made it
Great
this
age.
far. Yeah. So in high school, I always dabble with magic. I was raised as a Catholic. Always had like a strong rejection against it. But I think I was listening to your podcast on sex magic. I dug like the hoodoo stuff about Catholicism, like the guy in a dress waving incense around, and like this grand place kind of a thing. And so I was always drawn to the idea of magic, and got in trouble quite a bit as a kid with books, which as an adult, and even then, I was like, books aren't a bad thing. I can't rationally justify that. But I always kind of dove into that, the idea of Western magic. That's kind of the body of matter I threw myself into without really knowing it. At about, let's say, 20, I kind of got into reading much more about chaos magic. There's a variety of books I picked up. And then this was the heart of the Bush era, so I did this vow of poverty, and I went hitchhiking and squatting around the American South for about a year with... there are a couple of the different levers from chaos magic, and really dove into like this urban shamanism kind of a thing. And then I'm about 25, and somewhere along the way, I picked up the textbooks from what's his name of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and it made sense to me from the perspective of chaos magic, which is kind of like DIY magical systems that if you construct it and you follow the model of ritual and psychodrama and kind of dedication, that your brain latches onto the visual and experiential language of magical systems. And so I spent about 5 years studying Qabalah. I read a variety of books. I read this book.
Read this whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh
It's
my
a big
gosh.
book.
We're gonna. Is it okay if we take a picture to put it on our Instagram?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Right, that's amazing.
Like I learned how to read the tarot cards. You can actually map all of these to the Tree of Life. It takes about like 10 feet to do. And basic long-term study of that. And so I've utilized it in different kind of rituals. There's also a lot of really great literature. There's a guy called Alan Moore. You ever heard of him?
I don't think so.
He's a comic book artist.
Alan Moore. I was like, I've heard the name, but not in the context of witchcraft. But
yeah, he's great. He wrote this comic called Promethea. Promethea is this goddess that doesn't exist in our realm, but she is the goddess of creativity and imagination. And this young woman becomes the newest avatar of Promethea, and it's kind of in a DC style world. And in the course of these 4 books, she travels up the Tree of Life. Like she meets Crowley. She goes to Yesod. She goes to Had. She goes to Netzach, which is Venus, and goes all the way up the tree. And each one is like a comic. And so it's like a full-on visual treatment of them. It has all the symbolic elements.
That's
Wait, so I could just read those comics if I want to learn
I would
about
recommend,
Hermetic
yes.
Qabalah?
Yeah. Read Promethea by
Done.
Alan Moore.
Done.
And I've always loved it.
So there.
And it's as someone who has a deep interest in trying to know as much as what I'm talking about, like being able to reference all of these things and like the different planetary alignments, is just like something that I've made important to know.
Yes, you're very well researched.
yeah.
It's incredible. It's inspirational.
So also it informed my reading of the cards. I'm very particular about kind of how I read cards. So I was excited when you said to bring your cards because I brought my Thoth deck.
I'm so excited.
The one that Crowley literally designed. And you can actually take this and we can do some live action, like a Kabbalistic reference, and kind of find out on the Tree of Life what it connects.
Yeah. And
we should have you then
we should
do
do
a
that.
reading.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much more that we could talk about. I think that we could talk about this probably for 10 years.
Yeah.
And never really, there's so much more. Before we do a reading, though, I have a couple more questions.
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Would you consider yourself a solo practitioner? I know you said that you were which, by the way, that's amazing that you were traveling around the South as like, you were acting as a shaman, like kind of providing magical services to people.
No, I personally don't like the model of paying for services or charging for services. It's something that's very personal for me. So I was living in abandoned malls. I was squatting in at the University of South Florida for about a month. I lived in the library there, just like reading like Fourier as well as a variety of other stuff. And then dumpster diving. Like I rode a train from like Atlanta to LA. Like I rode the Sunset Line. I jumped a train. Doing graffiti sigils in the back of buildings, like living in like so at the time there was a lot of areas, and still I imagine there's a lot of areas that are kind of little autonomous zones, like old abandoned factories in the South. I was living in Tampa at the time. That, to be honest, like if you look like me, you know, like you're kind of, you meet the criteria of what is the average kind of man in the U.S., like you don't really get bothered too much. So like going into a place like that, like I was able to live in an abandoned factory in Tampa, Florida for like 3 months, you know, and like covered the inside of ruins. There was a big barn, like I drew a circle on the ground and like summoned demons and stuff.
So awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What an experience. That must have been, and like in your formative years of like your early 20s, that must have been like just wild. You should write. Are you writing a book? You should write a book.
I have a zine with me, actually.
Yeah. So tell us about that. What is your zine?
Well, all right. So about a year and a half ago, I kind of reinvested myself, like in like my practice. You know, to me, I've always had a small altar in some kind of way, and I felt like the need to kind of do a life change. So I started like reconstructing my space and like reconstructing like how I'd want to do my practice, and I started going through some of my old grimoires and like books of shadows and kind of pulling little segments out here and there. I'd gotten into photography over the past few years, so I've got like my first excerpts from my zine. It is called Excerpts from the Grimoire of Johnny Savage, as transcribed by Lumos Arcanorum. Johnny Savage was a magical name that I wrote with, that I still write under in certain kind of capacities as I write journals. That's a very specific perspective. And Johnny Savage was what I wrote all of those grimoires in when I was traveling around the U.S. as like a chaos monk, you know?
Chaos monk. I love that.
So I put together a little 36-page zine with some of my own photography that's available on my Etsy store.
Woo.
It's on Belias Atelier, but it's also available through my LinkedIn, which I guess you guys could probably link to. Not my LinkedIn. My Instagram.
I was like, LinkedIn. Ooh, business. No, yes, we will definitely link to your Etsy and your Instagram.
Yeah. Just send us links for anything and we'll put it up.
Okay.
And we also have a witchy resources page on our website.
Yeah.
I would love to add some of my stuff. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. We'll put your stuff on there
Yeah.
as well.
So for the zine, I kind of pulled out a bunch of stuff. It's little runes I did over the course of like those travels for the traditional elements. It's got some mudras I had used. It has a variation of kind of a circle banishing that I had come up with. It has a little essay on Gnosticism and kind of why it's important.
Nice.
It has
It has an X-Files reference.
It has an X-Files reference. It also has...
Someone's a fan.
Someone's a fan. It also has a small essay I wrote about why Cato the Elder, an ancient Roman senator, was one of the first social media editors, as well as some rituals, kind of some stuff I've done now.
It looks very sleek, too. I've seen a lot of zines in my day. No, I haven't. But, like, it looks really good. I really want...
It does. It's a good-looking zine.
I want it.
Aw. Well, this is for you.
Really?
Yeah, you guys can share this. There's two of you.
Yeah, we'll share it. We'll share it.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
We're very good at sharing.
I can't wait to read it. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
Why don't we do that tarot reading?
Yeah.
Are we doing a reading or are we pulling a card?
Let's
we're
just pull a
pulling
card.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right.
Just a card. And then we'd love to hear your interpretation of it.
Using your...
It's your Thoth deck,
Qabalah.
right?
Thoth.
Thoth.
Thoth. So these were actually, I believe these were drawn by Crowley or commissioned
Really?
by Crowley. It's one of the two.
That guy.
He's certainly
what
got
a
his name on it.
creative dude.
Prolific.
Prolific. He's
Yes.
like gotta have Leo in him somewhere.
Oh, yeah. You want to shuffle?
What? Oh, yeah, sure.
Of just
I think
being
you both had to shuffle.
Okay.
Oh.
I like it. Put our
Oh.
energy
I'm going
into
to be
it.
very noisy when
All
I
right.
shuffle because I'm not a good shuffler.
Well, so one of the things I did, I mean,
Oh,
I've heard
let me see.
interesting things about Crowley, like just from different takes. Like, certain people don't like him.
There's going to be... Wait, I'll
He
do it
was
right
he was kind of queer. He also
Yeah.
wasn't the greatest guy. Like
Yeah,
he didn't
he's
seem like he was
total
too loyal.
asshole, yeah.
But had he been born 100 years later, he would have been a neuroscientist. I think from like the angle that he
Yeah.
approached religion.
I think he was probably genius level. Like he seems
yeah.
incredibly intelligent. You don't get to the level that he did in his life of just like prolific works and heading orders, like blowing up the OTO and then becoming the head of it. Like that's
Right.
like you don't get
Right.
you don't become like the master of what is now like so widely practiced and known as Hermetic Qabalah or sex magic and not be someone who's pretty smart.
Yeah.
I would think.
Well, that and he was also like one of the first social media bad boys.
Yeah.
Like he called himself the Great Beast 666 on the cover of like the evening paper in London. You know, like no one had
Yes.
ever done that before.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
he made sure to show up looking as horrifically satanic as possible
Yeah.
to get people's attention. Like there was a strategy there that I
Yeah.
think that was way beyond kind of what anyone else was doing at the time.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. I think There's
Yeah.
I even though he was probably a total dick, I totally admire him at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dicks.
I can stand behind that position.
Yeah. I'm a very bad shuffler as well, but I'm just
Alright.
trying to send my energy into it.
Okay.
I really like this deck.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the cards.
All right.
Or
So
the
we're going to
card.
pull one card, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do this guy. So we have the Prince of Discs,
Ooh.
Oh.
which would be so the Prince of Discs. That is the pentacle in the traditional what's it called, Hermetic references. The Prince is in Hermetic Qabalah. Hermetic Qabalah maps the king, queen, prince, and princess to YHVH, the Tetragrammaton. So this is the Va. So that is, I believe, the air sign in Hermetic Qabalah. And so as the prince, he would be, let's see. So in Hermetic Qabalah, the worlds were broken into 4 worlds: Asaya, Netzach, and I think you actually have the breakdown in your notes, or you had saw them. There's basically the upper tree, which is Kathir, Chokmah, and Bina, and then you have the middle tree, which would be Chesed and Gabura, and then you have and Tifareth, and then you have the lower tree, which is Had, Netzach, Yesod, and the lowest part, which is Malka. So that kind of corresponds to the YHVH. So that would put it in the realm of Had, Netzach, and Yesod. So that kind of is a conjunction of Mercury, of Venus, and the Moon. So in a Hermetic Qabalah kind of version, it indicates like kind of a movement, but also it's dreams, it's thought, and it's love, as it would relate to coins. So one, you can kind of apply that to how people might be living their life. It's kind of, as you can see from the picture, it's actually a chariot. So with the idea of you got coins, you have kind of you've got an earthly vehicle. So it's thoughts for how you're going to move like your kind of earthly life forward. Gotta find your passions, as well as kind of following your dreams as well.
It's really
Cool.
beautiful. I really love it. That's so cool.
That's
Ooh, sorry.
the art is really cool, and that's a really interesting way of reading the. It's so cool to see how different people read tarot cards. I mean, it's everybody's got the same sort of basic tools, and then to see how different practices sort of influence how it's read is fascinating. And I
So
love
this
that.
deck is specifically for Hermetic Qabalah tarot, which would be different than Rider-Waite, or
Yeah, well, so Rider-Waite also came out of the Golden Dawn. Like Crowley actually made this deck with tons of different references. So I just pulled another card. That's the 7 of Discs. He also, because he had to leave his name and everything, that has a specific name to it. So the 7 of Discs for him, it's Netzach, but also it has a variety of like astrological kind of connections in there that he also wrote into experience, or he pulled from these massive magical spreadsheets that he had put together. So he's able to also add those as well. So it works functionally like any other tarot deck. It just has a lot of Crowley's embellishments on it.
Cool.
so cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, Lumo, if people wanted to get in touch with you or buy your zine or learn more, how can they follow you? Where do they find you on Instagram?
I'm just primarily on Instagram. It's at Lumo Arcanorum, LumoArcanorum.
Amazing. And we'll
Awesome.
tag you, of course. And I'm taking photos of the cards. We'll post that. Could I take a picture of the Tree of Life?
Yeah, of
Post that as
course. Yeah.
One of the
One of
four.
them. One of the 4.
This is, honestly, this subject is,
Fascinating.
yes,
And a lot.
complex and
Yeah.
varied and storied, and there's so many.
And we are so glad we had
We
you
have-
here.
yes.
Well, what's
you
fascinating
are
is that it's still being
invaluable.
taught kind of like we have the Western occultism perspective, but this is still being studied in like I said, in Hasidic communities, like here in New York and in Israel.
Yeah.
There's still like a living branch of it within like Judaism.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I still think it goes back to stuff that was made up in the 12th century
Yeah.
that people kind of said that was revealed to them, that it's been passed along. So we have this this beautiful tradition that has kind of brought a lot of people spiritual truth that was kind of made up, which means that the made up part isn't the important thing.
Right.
You know?
But it's spoken to so many people, like from so many different cultures and areas and
Right.
sects over the years that there must be something to it that like obviously has struck a chord with these many communities and has continued to live strongly to this day. There's obviously something there. Well, we like to close out every episode with our catchphrase.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
All
well,
right,
wait, we have to say it
Gotta
at
do
the
it
same time.
together.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have a grimoire in front of us. We've got a libation.
Right.
We've got some tarot cards.
Magic.
And we're literally completing the ritual.
Yes. Okay.
right.
So that's it for us for this week.
Don't forget to follow Witchcast
Yes.
on
Our
Instagram
own
at
plug.
Witchcast Podcast.
Yes.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our iTunes
Yes,
channel.
please give us that sweet 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. It really means a lot
Ooh,
to
it
us.
would be really
If
good.
you leave us a written review, we'll
Even
send good
better.
vibes your way even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. And until next time.
Hex
yeah!
Cause it's Witchcast.
Okay, great.
Yay!